The twin suns burned above the alien city of Joran, their golden light spilling over towers carved from black stone. Traders shouted in strange voices. Colorful banners moved with the hot wind. Every corner smelled of spices and smoke. And yet, in this place of life and sound, one man walked like a stranger. The human, his name was Daniel, kept his hood low as he moved through the crowded market. Eyes followed him. Whispers chased his steps. Everyone knew he was not one of them. The skin was different. His eyes carried something strange, something sharp. The Joran people were tall, with skin tinted silver or blue, and their movements were smooth, almost flowing like water. But this man was heavy in his steps, rough in his manner, like a piece of stone thrown into a river. He had come here searching for answers. The ruins outside the city had spoken to him more, rather. He had spoken to them. Old walls scratched with symbols no one remembered. Yet when his lips formed the words, the stones seemed to breathe, the carvings seemed to glow. Daniel did not know why. He had never been taught this language. But somehow, the words lived inside him. That was why he walked here now, to find more of those ancient signs. To find the meaning, he stopped near a tall tablet standing at the corner of the square. Its surface was cracked, half-eaten by time. Most passed it without care. Now to them, it was nothing but a broken relic of ancestors long dead. But to Daniel, it called. His fingers brushed the lines, feeling the deep cuts made thousands of years ago. The crowd around him grew quiet. He did not notice. He was already whispering Kelnar Va, Tanru, Shodreth. The alien words rolled off his tongue as if he had known them all his life. The sound was strange, sharp, and soft at the same time. His voice carried across the silent square, and then a cry. You. You speak the dead language of our ancestors. The lone voice belonged to a girl. She was young, barely grown by their standards, her skin pale silver with faint golden markings running across her cheeks. Her dark eyes widened in shock as she stared. At him, the basket she carried slipped from her hand, spilling bright red fruits onto the dusty ground. She did not even notice. Daniel turned, startled. His mouth was still open, the words still heavy on his tongue. He saw the alien girl trembling, her gaze locked on him as if he were some ghost walking among the living. The market erupted in whispers. Dead language. Impossible. Blasphemy. More eyes turned to him, sharper now, suspicious. And afraid, Daniel stepped back, his heart pounding. He had not meant to draw attention, had not meant to speak so loudly. But the girl did not let him leave. She pushed through the crowd, her silver hair falling over her face, her hands shaking. She stopped only a few feet away from him. Say it again, she demanded, her voice trembling. Say those words again. Daniel frowned. You understood? Me. Her lips parted, almost too afraid to answer. No one has spoken that tongue for 1,000 years. Not since the last of the ancestors vanished. It is forbidden even to try. Her voice grew softer as though she feared the very air might punish her. How can a human know it? Daniel felt the crowd pressing closer, faces full of suspicion, hands reaching for weapons. He could almost hear their thoughts, an outsider speaking forbidden words. Touching what should not be touched, he lifted his hand slowly. I don't know how, it just comes to me. When I see the symbols, the words appear in my mind. The girl shivered. A memory stirred inside her tales her grandmother once told her as a child. A prophecy whispered in the quiet of night. One day a stranger will speak the language of stone. When he does, the old doors will open, and the past will rise again. Throat felt dry. Could it be him? This human. Before she could speak again, a heavy voice thundered from the crowd. Blasphemer. An elder stepped forward, tall and cloaked in deep crimson robes. His eyes were like burning coals. He pointed a long staff at Daniel. Seize him. He defiles the sacred tongue. The crowd roared in anger. Daniel's chest tightened. He had no weapon, no way to defend himself against so many. He thought of running, but the guards were already moving in. Then the girl did something unexpected. She stepped between him and the elder. Her voice shook, but her words were firm. Wait. He did not steal the tongue. He spoke it as if he were. born to it. If the prophecy is true, if the ancestors spoke of one who would return, then maybe this human is the one. Gasps filled the air. The elder's eyes narrowed. You dare protect him, child? You risk the wrath of the council? The girl lifted her chin, though her knees trembled. If the ancestors left a voice behind, would we silence it? Or would we listen? Daniel stared at her, confused but grateful. Why would she defend him? She didn't even know his name. Yet something in her eyes told him she had felt the same strange pull that he had. The elder's staff struck the ground, echoing like thunder. Enough! Take them both to the council. It will decide the fate of this human tongue. Hands grabbed Daniel's arms. He struggled, but could not fight the iron grip of alien guards. The girl was pulled beside him, her basket forgotten, her fruits crushed under boots. Together they were dragged away from the market, away from the whispers, toward the towering hall of the council. Daniel's heart pounded. He had come searching for answers. But now, he was not sure if he would live long enough to hear them. And beside him, the alien girl whispered only one thing, so soft he almost missed it. The dead have chosen you. The council hall of Joran was unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. It rose from the heart of the city like a black mountain shaped by careful hands. Its walls carved with spiraling lines that shimmered faintly in the twin suns. The doors were taller than trees, guarded by warriors whose silver armor reflected the light like mirrors. To Daniel, it felt less like a hall and more like the mouth of a beast. Ready to swallow him whole, the guards dragged him and the alien girl through the heavy doors. Inside, the air was colder, thicker, as if time itself slowed in these walls. Stone pillars lined the chamber, each etched with the same runes he had spoken outside. They glowed faintly as he passed, like they recognized his presence. He shivered. The alien girl kept her head bowed, but Daniel could see her trembling. Her lips moved silently as though she prayed, or feared her own courage. Just moments ago, she had stepped between him and the elder, defying the crowd. Now she looked small, fragile, almost crushed beneath the weight of what she had done. They were forced to kneel before the council. 12 figures sat in a circle above them, cloaked. In crimson and black, their faces were aged, their eyes hard as stone. At the center was the High Elder, the same man who had called him a blasphemer in the market. His gaze burned like fire. You bring curses upon this hall, the High Elder's voice boomed. An outsider dares to breathe the forbidden tongue, and you, child of Jorander, to defend him. Speak now, before judgment falls. The girl raised her head slowly. Her name was Lyra. Her voice quivered, yet she forced the words out. I saw him speak, Elder. He did not stumble. He did not guess. The words lived in him. If the old stories are true, then he must be heard, not silenced. A murmur spread through the chamber. Some counselors leaned forward, eyes sharp with interest. Others hissed in anger, calling her reckless. The High Elder slammed his staff against the floor, silencing them. He turned his eyes on Daniel. You, human, say the words again. Daniel's throat was dry. He glanced at Lyra, who nodded faintly, though fear shone in her eyes. He swallowed and let the strange words rise once more. Kelnarva, Tanru. Runes along the pillars glowed brighter, pulsing with every syllable. Gasps echoed through the chamber. One counselor whispered, It is true. The stone responds. Another spat, Dangerous. He must be destroyed before he awakens. What should remain dead? Daniel's voice faltered. He stopped speaking, his heart racing. I don't even know what these words mean, he said desperately. I don't want trouble. I only want answers. The High Elder's eyes narrowed. And yet the tongue answers you. Do you know what this means, human? It means you carry the mark of the ancestors. But the ancestors have been silent for 1,000 years. Why would they choose you? He spat the last word like poison. Daniel had no reply. He felt the weight of every eye on him, their judgment heavy as chains. Wanted to deny it, to walk away. But the truth was simple. He did feel chosen, in some strange way he could not explain. The words came unbidden, yet natural, as if they had always been his. The silence stretched. Then the High Elder turned to Lyra. His voice grew colder. "And you, child, do you know what crime you have committed? To protect him is to defy the law. To speak of prophecy is to invite madness. Why did you not step aside?" Lyra's heart pounded. She wanted to say nothing, to let silence cover her, but she remembered her grandmother's whisper, the night. She had told her the prophecy. One day, a stranger will speak the tongue of stone. When he does, the city must choose to fear or to follow. Her hand shook, but her voice carried. "Because I believe the stories, because I saw the stones glow with my own eyes. I cannot deny what you saw too. If he is what the ancestors foretold, then to silence him is to silence them." The hall erupted again, half in fury, half in awe. Lyra lowered her eyes, her chest heaving. She was terrified. She had said too much, terrified of punishment. But something stronger than fear pushed her to speak, the strange certainty that Daniel mattered. The High Elder rose to his feet, his shadow stretching over them. "Enough," he thundered. "This is no child's tale. This is heresy. The ancestors are gone. Their language is forbidden. This human is a danger, not a savior. Tomorrow he will face the trial of the stone. If he survives, then perhaps the ancestors still breathe through him. If he fails, his death will end this foolishness." Daniel's stomach dropped. A trial. He had no idea what that meant, but from the gasps around him, from the pale fear on Lyra's face, he knew it was something grim. Guards pulled them to their feet. Daniel's wrists were bound. Lyra reached out as if to steady herself, her fingers brushing his arm for the briefest moment. Her touch was cold, trembling. "You should not have spoken," she whispered when the guards led them out. Her voice cracked. "Now they will break you. That is what the trial does." Daniel looked at her, surprised. "Then why did you defend me?" She hesitated, her eyes wet with unshed tears. "Because if I am wrong, then I have doomed us both. If I am right," her voice dropped to a whisper, trembling with both hope and fear, "then you are the only one who can save us." The heavy doors of the council hall slammed shut behind them, and for the first time, Daniel realized he had stepped into something much larger than himself. Something that could either destroy him more, change the fate of a world. The night air in Joran was heavy and cold. The stars above shimmered in strange colors, more alive than the skies Daniel had known on Earth, yet he barely noticed them. His wrists were bound with glowing metal cuffs as the guards marched him down a narrow path lit by fire bowls. Each step echoed like a drumbeat of doom. Beside him, Lyra walked silently. Her hands were not tied, but her shoulders shook under the weight of fear. She had begged the council to spare him. Instead, they had chosen the trial of the stone test no outsider had ever faced. Daniel whispered, "What is this trial?" Lyra glanced at the guards nervously, then leaned closer. Her voice was barely a breath. "It is a chamber built by the ancestors. They say it can see into your blood, your soul. If the stone accepts you, it will open. If not," her words trailed off. She didn't have to finish. Daniel's chest tightened. He had faced danger before, storms, hunger, battles, but this was different. This was something he could not fight with fists or fire. The guards led them through a broken arch carved into the side of the Black Mountain. Inside, the air was damp, carrying the smell of old stone and dust. Torches flickered against walls. Covered in the same runes he had spoken in the market, they seemed to glow faintly at his approach, pulsing like veins filled with light. The guards exchanged uneasy looks, but said nothing. Finally, they reached a massive door. Unlike the walls, this stone was smooth, untouched by time. In its center was a spiral pattern, carved deep into the rock. It seemed to turn slowly, though Daniel could not tell if it was real or only his imagination. The High Elder stood waiting before it, his crimson robes trailing across the floor. His voice was low but sharp as a blade. "This is the gate of truth. No lies can pass it. No false blood can trick it. Speak the tongue, outsider. If the ancestors know you, the gate will open. If not, it will be your tomb. The guard shoved Daniel forward. His heart pounded in his chest. He turned to look at Lyra. Her face was pale, her hands clutched tightly together. She gave him a small nod, though her eyes were filled with tears. Daniel raised his bound hands to the spiral. The stone was cold under his skin. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the words stirred inside him, rising unbidden to his lips. Shodreth, Kelnar Votan. The sound filled the chamber, rolling like thunder in the dark. The spiral lit up, glowing brighter with each word. The runes across the walls blazed to life, casting the hall in silver light. The ground trembled. A dust fell from the ceiling. Slowly, the great stone door began to turn. Gasps filled the chamber. Even the High Elder stepped back, his eyes wide. Daniel felt his breath catch. The light wrapped around him, warm and heavy, like the touch of unseen hands. Images flashed in his mind, shadows of tall figures, voices speaking in the same language. Battles fought in forgotten skies. He staggered, nearly falling, but the stone held him upright. When the door finally opened, it revealed a dark passage leading deeper into the mountain. The light faded, leaving silence heavy in its wake. It opened. Lyra whispered in awe. The High Elder's face twisted with anger and fear. Tricks, he hissed. The ancestors do not speak through him. He is dangerous. But the council, guards were no longer so sure. They had seen the door open, something no one had ever done in living memory. Some bowed their heads in respect, others whispered prayers. Lyra stepped closer to Daniel, her eyes shining. You were chosen, she said softly. I knew it. Daniel shook his head, still trembling. I don't even know what just happened. I don't understand any of this. The High Elder raised his staff, striking the ground. The sound cracked like thunder. The trial proves nothing. He may have opened the gate, but he is still an outsider. The council will decide what comes next. Until then, he remains our prisoner. Daniel's wrists burned as the guards seized him again. But this time, their grip was hesitant, almost respectful. They led him back through the glowing hallways, past the runes that still whispered faint light as they walked. Daniel glanced at Lyra. Why do you believe in me? He asked quietly. Her eyes softened, though fear still lingered there. Because when you spoke, the stone listened. And the stone has never listened to us. For the first time since his arrival, Daniel felt something shift inside him. Fear still gripped him, but beneath it, a spark of purpose burned. The language, the stone, the visions, they weren't accidents. They meant something. He did not know yet what the ancestors wanted. But one thing was clear. The city of Joran would never look at him the same way again. And in the shadows of the mountain, something ancient had awakened. The mountains swallowed Daniel and Lyra as the guards forced them deeper into the opened passage. The glow from the runes followed them like living fire, casting shadows that danced along the stone walls. Daniel's wrists still burned from the cuffs, yet his mind was elsewhere. The voices from the trial chamber still echoed inside his head, strange. Ghostly whispers he could not understand. The deeper they went, the quieter the world became. No footsteps, no breath of wind, no sound of life, only the low hum of the stone itself. Daniel felt as though the mountain was alive, watching him. At last, they entered a wide chamber. Unlike the rest of the hallways, this place was not empty. The walls were covered with murals, carvings of tall figures holding weapons of light. Ships flying through alien skies and battles fought against monstrous shapes. At the center of the chamber stood a circular platform, cracked but still glowing faintly. The guards stopped at the edge, refusing to step further. Even the High Elder's face showed unease. He pointed his staff at Daniel. Stand there, outsider. Let the stone judge you further. Daniel stepped onto the platform. As his boots touched the surface, light spread from his feet, filling the cracks, racing in lines across the floor until the entire circle glowed. The chamber trembled. Then it began. The whispers returned clearer this time. They were not in English, nor in the alien tongue spoken by Joran's people. They were in the same dead language he had spoken, the one that lived in his blood. Yet he understood them without effort. You carry our voice. You are the vessel, the chain unbroken. Daniel's breath caught. He saw flashes again, beings with silver skin and golden eyes, their voices raised in command. He saw fire raining from the skies and entire cities falling. He saw a dark shadow rising against them, something monstrous and endless. His knees buckled. He clutched his head, the whispers burning like fire inside his skull. Lyra cried out, trying to run forward, but the guards held her back. "Stop! You'll kill him!" she screamed. But the whispers only grew stronger. "The enemy has returned. The blood of stone must rise. Speak, vessel, and the doors will open." Daniel gasped as the visions ended, collapsed to one knee, sweat running down his face. The platform dimmed, but did not go dark. The whispers faded into silence, leaving only the pounding of his heart. Lyra broke free from the guards at last, rushing to his side. She grabbed his arm, her hand shaking. "What did you hear?" she whispered desperately. Daniel stared at the glowing cracks beneath him. His voice was hoarse, almost broken. They said, "I'm a vessel, and that something terrible, is coming back." The chamber fell silent. Even the High Elder seemed shaken, though his lips curled in anger to hide it. "You see?" the Elder barked. "The ancestors speak not of salvation, but of doom. This human brings danger to us all." But Lyra's eyes told another story. She had seen the light, felt the tremor in the air. She believed, and deep down, so did Daniel. The whispers of the ancients did not leave Daniel, even when the glowing platform dimmed. They echoed inside his skull like a second heartbeat, warning of something unseen. As the guards pulled him away from the chamber, his mind replayed the words again and again. The enemy has returned. But what enemy? The city of Joran had no wars. Its people had long lived in peace, proud of their order and traditions. Yet that night the first sign appeared, high above the city. Under the pale twin moons, a burning streak cut across the sky. At first, the people thought it was a falling star. Children pointed, traders cheered, and even the guards paused too. Watch. But then the streak grew larger, closer, until it was clear it was no star at all. A ship, it crashed beyond the northern wall with a thunder that shook the ground. Flames lit the horizon, black smoke curling into the heavens. The alarms of Joran rang for the first time in generations. Daniel, still under guard, turned his head toward the fire. His gut twisted. He knew, without knowing how, that this was what the voices had warned him about. Lyra rushed to his side, her silver hair wild in the torchlight. "The enemy," she whispered, eyes wide with terror. "It's real." The High Elder tried to calm the council and people, calling the crash an accident, but already rumors spread like fire. Strange shapes were seen moving in the smoke. Creatures that did not walk like men, their bodies long and twisted, their eyes glowing red dot by dawn. The truth could not be denied. Survivors from the northern outposts came staggering into the city, bleeding and broken. Their words chilled every listener. "They are back," one soldier gasped before collapsing. "The darkness that our ancestors fought, the Scourge has returned." The name spread like poison. The Scourge, a race of destroyers from the forgotten wars, thought to be long gone. And somehow, Daniel knew them. When he closed his eyes, the same visions from the chamber returned, endless hordes with burning eyes, tearing through worlds, swallowing cities whole. The whispers of the ancients burned inside him. Only the vessel may stand against them. The council gathered in panic. Some demanded the city seal its gates and wait for death. Others whispered of fleeing. The High Elder's voice rose above them all, blaming the human. "This outsider brings curses. He opens forbidden doors, and now the Scourge returns. He is the omen." But Lyra stood once more before the council, her fear burned away by anger. "No, he is not the omen. He is the answer." The ancestors spoke through him. If we silence him, then we silence the only hope we have. The chamber erupted in chaos. The people divided, and as Daniel stood in chains, hearing the distant echo of roars from the burning horizon, he realized the truth war had already begun. Asterisk, the city of Joran trembled with fear. Smoke still rose from the northern wall where the scourge had landed. Council argued. The High Elder demanded Daniel's execution, and the people whispered in panic. Yet in the shadows of the chamber, one voice refused to abandon him, Lyra's. When the guards locked Daniel inside a cold stone cell, Lyra slipped past them. She carried no weapons, only a small lamp in her hands. Her steps echoed softly as she entered. Daniel looked up, exhausted, his wrists bruised from the iron cuffs. You shouldn't be here, he muttered. Lyra placed the lamp between them, its flame chasing away the darkness. And leave you to die? No, you opened the gate. The ancestors chose you. I will not let them take that away. Words struck him harder than any weapon. He had been alone since he came to this world, treated as an outsider, a threat. Yet, here was this young alien girl, risking her life just to stand beside him. Daniel lowered his head. I don't understand why. I'm no savior. I didn't ask for any of this. Lyra crouched close, her golden-marked face glowing in the lamplight. You think the ancestors ask? They never ask. They choose. And they chose you. Her voice softened, trembling with emotion. My grandmother told me stories of the old wars. She said one day someone would return with the voice of stone. I never believed her, but then you spoke. I felt it. The stones listened to you. To you, and for the first time, I felt hope. Daniel's chest tightened. He saw the fear in her eyes, but also courage shining brighter than the lamp. He realized she wasn't only defending him out of belief in prophecy. She believed in him. The silence stretched between them, filled only by the distant rumble of war outside the walls. Finally, Daniel whispered, If I survive this, if we survive this, then I swear I won't let you face it alone. Lyra reached forward hesitantly, her hand brushing his. Her skin was cool, trembling, but she didn't pull away. For a moment, two worlds touched, not human, not alien, but something deeper then. From beyond the cell, a horn blasted. The sound of battle. The scourge had reached the gates. Screams echoed through the city. Lyra gripped Daniel's hand tighter, her eyes burning with determination. Then it begins, she said firmly. The war of our ancestors has come again. And this time, human, you and I will fight it together. The horns of Joran wailed across the night as the scourge poured through the broken northern wall. Twisted forms slithered and roared, eyes glowing red like burning coals. Panic spread through the city. Citizens fled, guards fought desperately, but the enemy kept coming, endless, merciless.
Ancient inside the prison cell.
Daniel could hear the chaos shaking the ground. Flames reflected on the stone walls. Lyra clutched his hand tighter, her voice steady, despite the fear in her eyes. This is it. The ancestors brought you here for this moment. Before he could reply, the door of his cell burst open. A group of young guards stood there, their faces pale but determined. The leader dropped the keys at Daniel's feet. Council still argues, but we saw the truth in the chamber. The ancestors chose you. Go before the city falls. Within moments, his cuffs were gone. Daniel rushed out, following Lyra and the guards through the smoke-filled streets. Everywhere fire consumed the towers, and the screams of the wounded echoed in the night, yet the runes carved into the walls glowed faintly as he passed, as if guiding his steps. At the heart of the city stood the grand obelisk, a monument carved by the ancestors. For centuries it had been silent, a dead relic. But now its runes pulsed with light, answering Daniel's presence. The scourge converged toward it, sensing the power it contained. Daniel staggered forward, the words of the dead language rising unbidden to his tongue. Lyra ran beside him, cutting through the panicked crowd. The High Elder himself appeared, staff raised, shouting above the chaos. Stop him. The human will doom us all. Not the people no longer listened. They saw the scourge tearing through. their streets, and they saw the stone glowing only for the human. For the first time, their faith shifted. Daniel reached the base of the obelisk. His voice shook, but grew louder with each word. Kelnar Va, Shadreth, Tanra. The runes blazed. Light erupted skyward, brighter than the twin suns. The ground trembled as ancient machines hidden beneath the city awoke. From the base of the obelisk, beams of pure energy lashed outward, striking the scourge. The creatures screamed, their twisted bodies dissolving in the light. Lyra shielded. Her eyes, her heart racing. She had heard of this power only in bedtime stories, the weapon of the ancestors. And now, a human wielded it. The scourge broke, fleeing into the night, their howls fading into silence. The city stood scarred, but alive. When the light dimmed, Daniel fell to his knees, breathless. Lyra rushed to him, catching his arm. The people gathered around, whispering in awe. Even the council lowered their heads, their doubts silenced. Lyra's voice trembled, but her eyes shone with fierce pride. They were wrong. You are not our curse. You are our future. Daniel looked at her, exhausted but steady. The whispers of the ancestors had faded, leaving only silence. Yet in that silence he felt something new belonging. For the first time, he was not just a stranger. It was the vessel, the bridge between two worlds. And as the people of Joran bowed, Lyra whispered the words that ended the prophecy. Our ancestors spoke of you. And now, human, our future begins with you.